Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that's short, sweet, but surprisingly clever. It's a classic fairy tale from the master storyteller Hans Christian Andersen, first published way back in 1835. It's called The Princess and the Pea, and it explores a very interesting idea. What does it truly mean to be royalty? Is it about crowns and castles, or something much, much more delicate? Let's find out. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a prince who desperately wanted to get married. But he didn't want to marry just anyone. He had his heart set on a real princess. He traveled all over the world, from east to west, north to south, searching for his perfect match. He met plenty of princesses, you see. Some were beautiful, some were witty, some were rich. But every single time he felt something was off. Something was always lacking, and he could never be absolutely certain they were the genuine article. Disappointed and quite sad, the prince returned to his castle, his dream of finding a true princess feeling further away than ever. One evening, a truly terrible storm raged outside the castle walls. Thunder cracked and echoed through the halls, lightning lit up the sky, and rain poured down in relentless sheets. It was a dark and frightening night. Amidst the chaos of the storm, a sudden, urgent knocking was heard at the main town gate. The old king, curious and a little concerned, went down himself to see who could possibly be out on a night like this. Standing there, drenched and shivering, was a young woman. Water streamed from her hair and clothes, and her shoes were completely soaked. Despite her pitiful state, she carried herself with a certain grace. "I am a princess," she said, her voice weak from the cold. "I have traveled a long way and am in desperate need of shelter from the storm." The king, a kind man, immediately welcomed her inside. But the old queen, who was also there, was a bit more skeptical. She looked at the soggy girl from head to toe and thought to herself, a real princess, you say? Well, we shall soon find out." She didn't say anything out loud, of course, but a clever plan was already forming in her mind. Without a word, the queen slipped away and went to prepare a guest room. But this wasn't going to be just any bed. First, she took all the bedding off the bedstead, leaving only the bare wooden slats. Then, from a small pouch, she took one tiny, hard, dried pea and placed it right in the very center of the bed frame. One single pea. Next, she ordered the servants to bring mattresses. Not one, not two, but 20 mattresses. They piled them one on top of the other, creating a soft, towering stack right over that little pea. But the queen wasn't finished. On top of the 20 mattresses, she had them place 20 of the finest, fluffiest feather beds. The bed was now a colossal tower, reaching almost to the ceiling. This was the bed she prepared for their unexpected guest. With a polite smile, she showed the princess to her room, saying, "You may rest here for the night." The next morning, the whole royal family gathered for breakfast. When the princess finally came downstairs, she looked absolutely exhausted. Her eyes were heavy, and she moved as if she were sore all over. The queen, trying to look as innocent as possible, asked kindly, "And how did you sleep, my dear?" The princess sighed deeply. "Oh, dreadfully!" she exclaimed. "I barely closed my eyes the entire night. Goodness knows what was in that bed. I felt like I was lying on something incredibly hard, and now my whole body is black and blue. It was simply awful." The moment she said this, the queen's face lit up. She turned to her son, the prince, with a triumphant smile. "Now we know," she cried. "She is a real princess." You see, their logic was this. Only a person with the most extraordinarily delicate and sensitive skin, the skin of true royalty, could possibly feel one tiny pea through 20 mattresses and 20 feather beds. It was the ultimate, undeniable proof of her noble birth. The prince was overjoyed. He had finally found his genuine princess. They were married soon after, and he knew his search was truly over. And what happened to the pea? Well, it was placed in the Royal Museum, where the story says it might still be seen to this day, if nobody has stolen it. And that's the story of The Princess and the Pea. It's a funny little tale, isn't it? It pokes fun at the idea that nobility is something you're born with, something so ingrained that it makes you physically different from everyone else. Thank you so much for joining me for this classic story.